The 2020-2021 season has finally drawn to a close, and it's time for us to pick our CONCACAF Team of the Season. What up, guys? Pete Douthit here, host of the 11 Yanks Breakdown Show. Welcome if you're new. Smash that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, guys, make sure you smash that like button so other people can find us. Let's get into it. All right, so every year at the end of the season, I put together a CONCACAF Team of the Season. And there's great news, guys. CONCACAF is one of the fastest growing confederations in the world. You see teams like Canada and Jamaica and Honduras, and even teams like Haiti and Suriname and Curacao starting to put together some better teams, starting to recruit better players, starting to develop better players. And that means that the CONCACAF Team of the Season this year is looking stronger than ever. Now, I'm sure this is going to be controversial to a degree because we all have our own biases, opinions, and preferences, but I have tried to be as fair as I can be. Let's go over the rules that I set for myself so you can know the parameters by which we are operating for this selection. Number one, individual performances are the primary metric for making the team. Number two, club performances / standing are the secondary metric. 3, individual and collective national team performances are the third metric for evaluation. Number 4, the level of competition / league has a high influence on this team. Now, that last one is important, guys, because as you will see, all the players who make the CONCACAF Team of the Season are players who play in Europe. That's where the best players play. That's where the highest level of competition is. And also, both MLS and Liga MX and other North American leagues are only about halfway through their season, so it's hard for us to be making a judgment call on those players. All the players play in Europe. We're going to dive into it, but first, a quick word from our sponsor. Hey guys, I'm happy to say that 11 Yanks has a new sponsor. OneFootball is an app that allows you to get all of your news, transfers, stats, and in-match updates from over 160 leagues in over 60 countries. I've been using this app for the last few weeks, and here's what I love about it. I can select the teams that I love, in this case the USMNT, and with one click, I'll have access to all the news about the teams, statistics from past games, lineups, information about future games, as well as who is part of the roster. I can also do the same thing for specific players, select the ones that I want to follow, and I'll be able to track that player's data, performance, and stats throughout the season for both club and country. So check out the app, guys, OneFootball. Click the link in the description below to download the app directly and start getting all the information you need about the players and teams that you love. All right, so the first one up is goalkeepers, and the 3 candidates here are Keylor Navas, the 34-year-old Costa Rican who plays for Paris Saint-Germain, Zack Steffen, the substitute American keeper for Manchester City, and Milan Borjan, the 33-year-old Canadian goalkeeper for Red Star Belgrade. Now, all of these guys had fairly decent seasons, but there really is only one candidate here who deserves that spot, has been the best and most consistent goalkeeper in CONCACAF for the last 10 years, won the Champions League 3 times with Real Madrid, doesn't get enough credit, doesn't get enough praise, really a standout. Ladies and gentlemen, it's goalkeeper Keylor Navas, who is the CONCACAF goalkeeper of the season. I know that Paris Saint-Germain did not win the French League and did not win the Champions League, but Zack Steffen only played 12 games for Manchester City, and Milan Borjan had a great season, but again, playing for Red Star Belgrade isn't the same as playing for a club in the top 5 league. Diving into right-back candidates, and here is where it gets interesting and also tough. We have Jesus Tecatito Corona, the 28-year-old right back / right winger for the Mexican national team and for FC Porto. Now, he is on the right back selection list because he played about half of his games for Porto at right wing or right wing back, but also played quite a few of them at right back. And if he had to go up against some of the stellar wingers in the CONCACAF pool, he doesn't really stand a chance. So he gets to drop back and play as a right back for the sake of this team. Sergino Dest, 20-year-old American right back, had his first year with Barcelona. Great player, didn't have the best of seasons, if we're being totally honest. Especially when it came to the Champions League, he struggled when he was playing against very high-level players like Kylian Mbappe, but overall, pretty decent for what you would expect from a 20-year-old playing his first full professional season for a team like Barcelona, which, to be honest, had a bit of a toxic season themselves and wasn't really the best place for a young player like him to go and develop. His confidence did suffer, and although he played mostly well in La Liga, he didn't really ball out in the Champions League. Reggie Cannon went and played for Boa Vista in his first season and also struggled. Yes, he played a lot of games, but Boa Vista has struggled, and Cannon has struggled to adapt to life in Portugal compared to playing for FC Dallas. It is a jump up. He's still young, and hopefully he can develop and learn. And let's be honest, he doesn't really match Tecatito or Sergino Dest on this list. This was a really tough one, guys. At the end of the day, playing for Barcelona and playing in La Liga is a lot more difficult than playing in Portugal and basically dominating all the other Portuguese teams. Like I said, in the Champions League, Sergino Dest struggled at the highest level, and then I remembered that Tecatito was the guy who lost the ball in his own penalty box for Chelsea to win that Champions League tie, so he didn't exactly cover himself in glory either. At the end of the day, Sergino Dest just pips it because of the level that he is playing at. And I do believe that if he was playing for a team like Porto, he would have a much easier time, probably have a lot more goals and assists than he did playing in a place like La Liga. Next up is the right center back spot, where we have Nestor Araujo, Chris Richards, and Wes Morgan. Nestor Araujo, the Mexican center back who plays for Celta Vigo, had 32 games for them. Chris Richards only played half the season for Hoffenheim, but established himself as a starter. Played 20 games in total. Some of those games did come for Bayern Munich in the first half of the season, albeit relatively few. I believe 13 or 14 of them were for Hoffenheim. Had a good season for a young 21-year-old, and Wes Morgan, although he only played 10 games for Leicester City at the age of 37, his career is coming to a close, and I know he doesn't play for Jamaica anymore, but he's still a Jamaican and was one of the candidates. Guys, it really did come down, though, to Nestor Araujo versus Chris Richards. Not only did Nestor Araujo play more games than Richards, but he also helped to lead Celta Vigo to 8th place in La Liga. Hoffenheim ended up with 11th. There's a clear winner here, guys. It is Nestor Araujo, and he gets the right center back spot in this team. Next up is left center back candidates. John Anthony Brooks, the American center back for Wolfsburg, Mark McKenzie, the 22-year-old American center back for Genk, and Ryan Donk, the Surinamese center back for Galatasaray, who had a quietly great season over in Turkey. Now, this one isn't particularly close, guys. Playing in Turkey is not the same as playing in a top 5 league. Playing in Belgium for half a season is not the same as playing in a top 5 league. And to top it all off, Wolfsburg qualified for the Champions League. They made the top 4, and so it is a very clear John Anthony Brooks, the left center back of the CONCACAF Team of the season. Now we jump into left back, guys. Alphonso Davies, the Canadian left wing back for Bayern Munich, Anthony Robinson, the American left back for Fulham, and the surprise package, Gerardo Arteaga, also plays for KRC Genk over with Mark McKenzie, 21-year-old right back turned left back for Mexico, who had a quietly very good half of a season. I actually thought that Gerardo Arteaga should have started for Mexico in the Nations League final over a guy like Jesus Gallardo. I just thought he'd been more impressive for Mexico up to that time. But hey, I'm not Tata Martino. Anthony Robinson did have a pretty good season individually, but Fulham did get relegated, and so that definitely brings him down a few notches. At the end of the day, it has to be Alphonso Davies, okay? Champions League quarterfinalist, Bundesliga winner, congratulations to the young Canadian. He makes the left back of the season from CONCACAF. Now we start diving into midfield, and it gets interesting. We have Edson Alvarez, the 23-year-old defensive midfielder who plays for Ajax, had 39 games, 2 goals, and 2 assists. Tyler Adams, 22-year-old holding midfielder for RB Leipzig, 37 games, 1 goal and 1 assist. and Leandro Bacuna, the 29-year-old holding midfielder for Curaçao who plays for Cardiff City, who also actually had a pretty good season. But folks, it is Tyler Adams versus Edson Alvarez here, and let's face it, playing in Holland isn't the same as playing in Germany, even though they did both play in the Champions League. Tyler Adams probably had his best season for RB Leipzig. He was mostly injury-free, and I think that helped him a lot. We saw him be a huge player for them, and I think he's going to be a huge player going forward, especially now that Jesse Marsch is taking the helm. On top of it all, Tyler Adams did contribute to the US winning the Nations League final, and although that's not extremely high in the weighing factors, put together, it's all enough to give it to Tyler Adams. He is the CONCACAF defensive midfielder of the season. And now it gets into fun territory, central midfield candidates. We have Hector Herrera, the 31-year-old La Liga champion from Mexico who plays for Atletico Madrid. Weston McKennie in his first year as a box-to-box midfielder for Juventus from United States. The Texas boy played a lot of games, had 6 goals and 3 assists in his first season, real key player for them. And Andres Guardado, the 34-year-old Mexican midfielder, plays for Real Betis, 29 games, 1 goal, 0 assists. Now, as I was researching for the box-to-box midfielder spots, I thought, Hector Herrera, come on. The guy is a La Liga champion. They beat out both Real Madrid and Barcelona to do it. Surely he's a shoo-in for this spot, whereas Weston McKennie's Juventus only hit 4th spot, although they did win Coppa Italia. Then I looked into it a little bit further, and it turns out, although Hector Herrera played 21 games, he only actually played a total of 978 minutes all season long, which means most of the time he didn't start for them. Most of the times he was an impact substitute. That's about 11 full games over the course of the season, and I don't think you can make CONCACAF Team of the Season with just 11 games. On top of that, Weston McKennie had 6 goals and 3 assists, so a lot more production and end product than Hector Herrera did. And of course, to top it all off, not only did Weston McKennie win Nations League with the United States, he also scored 1 and assisted the other goal against Mexico. So he just pips it, guys. Weston McKennie is the box-to-box midfielder on the CONCACAF Team of the Season. Now, we're going to leave the other midfield spot for just a second, and we're going to come back to it. But first, I want to dive into the winger or wide forward positions, whatever you want to call them, and there are 4 clear candidates here, guys. Leon Bailey, the 23-year-old Jamaican winger for Bayer Leverkusen. He played 40 games, had 15 goals and 11 assists. Helped Bayer Leverkusen clinch a Europa League spot and really was one of the best CONCACAF wingers. Chucky Lozano, 25-year-old Mexican, plays for Napoli. 43 games, also had 15 goals and 5 assists. Faded a little bit towards the end of the season, but still a very strong breakout season for Chucky. Christian Pulisic, the 22-year-old winger for Chelsea FC, 43 games, only scored 6 goals and 4 assists, so not as impressive as far as his personal stats go as both Chucky and Leon Bailey. Giovanni Reyna is the 4th, the 18-year-old American who plays for Dortmund, played a lot of games, didn't start a ton of them, but certainly had some meaningful starts, got 7 goals and 7 assists in his debut season, and for me, it was pretty clear from the start who was going to win these spots. Leon Bailey is the left wing for the CONCACAF Team of the Season, and the other spot more than deservedly goes to Chucky Lozano. They are the 2 wide players, both of them with great seasons, both of them key players for their respective national teams. Now, we are going to come back to this because Christian Pulisic, although he did not have the best season in terms of his individual stats, he did win the Champions League. Not only that, he played a huge role in helping Chelsea get to the final, scoring the game-ending goal against Atletico Madrid in the second round, winning man of the match against Porto in the quarterfinal, and scoring and assisting 2 of the 3 goals to knock out Real Madrid in the semi-final. He did only play 20 minutes in that final, but he was so key and crucial in helping Chelsea to win the most difficult trophy to win in the world, On top of that, he did also lead the United States to Nations League victory against Mexico in the final, winning and scoring the winning goal himself. But most importantly, guys, if you win the Champions League, and especially if you play a key role in winning the Champions League, you will be on the CONCACAF Team of the Season. So for the sake of this graphic, I have Christian Pulisic as an attacking midfielder / second roaming forward. That is a role that we know he can play, and he has played it quite a few times for Chelsea this last season. He makes the CONCACAF Team of the Season, not so much on individual stats, but more on his being a key player in Chelsea winning the world's penultimate soccer trophy. And last but not least, we have to get into the forward candidates, and it's an interesting mix. We have Michail Antonio, the 31-year-old newly committed to Jamaica forward. He is on the provisional roster for the Gold Cup, and he is expected to finish getting his citizenship requirements in time to make it, so I did have him included. In 27 games for West Ham, he scored 10 goals and got 5 assists. Jonathan David is another key forward, Canadian player for Lille, 48 games, 13 goals and 5 assists. He struggled at the beginning of the season. He didn't start so great, but then he did pick up and managed to rack up some pretty decent goals, helping Lille to win the French league for the first time in God knows how long. Josh Sargent is the last candidate, 21-year-old forward for Werder Bremen, 37 games, had 7 goals and 3 assists. Decent, not great season from Josh. Werder Bremen did get relegated. We're going to see if he ends up getting a transfer somewhere. But guys, this competition really is between Michail Antonio and Jonathan David. Now, breaking PSG's stranglehold on Ligue 1, and also the fact that he had more actual goal involvements, albeit in more playing time than Michail Antonio, I'm going to give this one to Jonathan David. I think he deserves it. That is the CONCACAF Team of the Season, guys. Next up, we have the bench players, all 7 of them, and this is largely USA and Mexico represented. Zack Steffen is the substitute goalkeeper. Defenders are Jesus Tecatito Corona and Chris Richards. The midfield is a Mexican duo of Edson Alvarez and Hector Herrera. And up top, we have Reyna as the wide substitute and Michail Antonio as a center forward. Now, if you have a look at this team, guys, this is a team that I think would do quite well in a World Cup. In fact, I'm going to go so far as to say I think this is a team that might have a chance at winning a World Cup. There's a good balance of defense and attack. There's a lot of players who are very creative, very technical, very skillful. There's good leadership. There's a good combination of both experience and youth in this roster, and we want to see more of this. We want to see more CONCACAF players doing well. The vast majority of these players played in Champions League, and the bench is very, very strong too. As CONCACAF continues to improve, as not only the US and Mexico, but also Canada, Jamaica, and other teams continue to send players to Europe to develop, to play at high levels, to test themselves, to push themselves, the CONCACAF Team of the Season will continue to get more interesting and very likely more competitive than it has been thus far. All right, guys, that's it for now. Let me know what you think in the comments. Who do you think deserved to be in the 11? Who didn't deserve to be there? You guys have a great week, and I will see you on Sunday.